Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Football Manager 2024 series, Help Me Play as Chelsea. And we've simmed a few weeks since our last episode, and it's definitely been a mixed result in those games for Chelsea. We'll talk about that shortly. First of all, just wanted to thank everyone who, over the past several days, has shared thoughts with us on scouting, transfers, contracts, and even pronunciation in many cases. Trying to integrate those ideas into what we're doing here. So we've started some new scouting searches, trying to hopefully unearth some wonder kids that we'll be able to pursue when the transfer window reopens in about 4 months. Got some things to talk through about transfers shortly. We will be looking for some help from the viewers. But first, we are going to just start out with how the team has performed recently. Our last game when we were on in our last episode was the 2-0 loss to Arsenal, which pushed us to 1-1 in our first 2 games of the Premier League season. Since then, it has not been great. We won a friendly against the Chelsea under-21s. Of course, we would expect to do that. Had a Premier League game against Luton, and that was a real disappointing performance. We had the dreaded Football Manager 89th minute goal against us when we had a 1-0 lead, and we're hoping to get out with the 3 points. Unfortunately, the way things worked out, we only got 1 point out of that. Particularly disappointing for the fans, being a home match. Then in the Carabao Cup, we lost 2-1 to Tottenham. And then back in Premier League play, a 0-0 draw against Everton on the road. So not a horrible result there. This past weekend, no games, a lot of international action going on, and clearly Chelsea had a lot of players involved in that. But 5 games into the Premier League season, and we've got 1 win, 1 loss, and 2 draws. And certainly, as I mentioned, that 89th minute goal by Luton that caused us to go from 3 points to 1 point was pretty disappointing. The other thing that has been disappointing for us is that we're not scoring a lot of goals. We're not giving up a ton of goals either, so I guess that is certainly a positive thing. But in our 4 games that counted for the Premier League, we've scored 2 goals, no goals, 1 goal, and no goals. So only 3 goals scored and 4 goals allowed in the Premier League so far through those first 4 games for us. Hopefully, we will have some ability to generate more offense in the not-so-distant future. So that's where we stand right now as we begin this episode, and it's going to be a relatively quick episode. We've got a long holiday weekend in the United States coming up this weekend for Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday. So I said I would always do at least 2 days between episodes, but my goal is to continue to live up to that, but plan to be a little more active this weekend. It's Thursday evening as I'm doing this episode. Also plan to put out another episode on Saturday and then another episode on Monday evening. So should have 3 episodes in this series over the next 5 days, which will certainly be about as fast a pace as we're ever going to do in this series. With the transfer window closed, appreciate the thoughts that many of you have shared with me on Silva. He did not end up accepting any of the offers that he got from the clubs in Brazil, and we did not get a big enough offer from Arsenal after we agreed that if we got a $10 million offer, we would send him on his way. So his attitude is okay at this point, but it's not great. Unfortunately, he's not interested in negotiating with us. So I don't know that we need to bring him back. He'll be 39 in not too long. Certainly a very valuable player. But I guess my question for those of you with more experience than me about this is, with him saying he doesn't want to talk with us, what are the likelihood that I'll be able to reverse that over the next few months? And if it's a low likelihood that we'll be able to reverse it over the next few months, is my best bet to try to ship him somewhere in the January transfer window so we can at least get something for him, rather than waiting until the season ends and he'll be able to leave on a free, because presumably if he's not going to talk contract with us now, he won't be interested in re-signing. So any thoughts on how we should approach him going forward would be sincerely appreciated. And there's one player that we've been scouting that I'm interested in the opinion of the viewers on. Vivaldo Semedo, 18-year-old striker. Looks like he is going to be on the move. Our scouts think he'd be an excellent signing for the future. You can see here potentially a 5-star guy. When we dig in a little deeper on this 18-year-old striker, 6'4", 182 pounds, so a very different striker physically than Nanto, who we signed probably about a month ago at this point. Pretty solid physical skills, but not overwhelming. His finishing is really good. His heading, if with his 6'4" height, his heading was a little better. I think that could be pretty interesting. Supposedly, his club's only looking for about $4 million for him, and he is transfer listed, and he's upset that transfer didn't go through. So presumably he's going to be moving somewhere, possibly in January, if not almost certainly in June. You can see the list of clubs that are after him, and it seems like largely a list of clubs that would be in the same general neighborhood as Chelsea. He's on international duty now, but he should be back very shortly. There's a few areas where we'd love higher scores. Certainly decision making, his flair. But I think he's a pretty decent prospect, and to me, $4 million doesn't seem excessive. Honestly, if we were to defer a little bit of money, we've got enough money in the transfer budget still this year that he's a guy that we could bring on. So I think I am inclined to investigate bringing him on board. But any thoughts about weaknesses that you see in his game that might be something I'm not thinking about that we should consider, or perhaps how high we should be willing to go on him if we do end up deciding to make an offer and get into a bit of a bidding war, or they kind of jack up the price? I mean, it seems like 4.1 million is kind of where they're at. I guess I might as well, while I'm here, at least ask the agent about availability. That would give everyone who's watching a little more information in addition to me. Sounds like he's very interested in a move to Chelsea. Still thinks his club would be about $4.1 million. Breakthrough prospect, would want to make about $500,000 a year. Long-term commitment. Find a loan for him, which between our longer standing, although I don't think incredibly long standing in the history of the game, relationship with Strasbourg and our new affiliate relationship that we just established in the last few weeks, think that would not be a problem with either one of those teams or other teams around the world. Going to try to see if maybe we can get the salary demand a little bit less. I'm going to stall him here, mainly because I would like some more thoughts from you. Sounds like there is a lot of interest in him, and we certainly saw that here with the number of teams that are listed in pretty prominent leagues. But we'll see how things go. And if you've got thoughts on whether he's worth $4 million, whether he's worth a lot more than that or not, always helpful for me to hear your thoughts. And another item that I'd appreciate any thoughts and feedback on is our fortnightly staff meetings. I've attended a few of these at this point. I'll run through this one with you. I'll kind of make the decisions here, although I'll probably be looking for help on some of them. So just looking for thoughts on how those of you with more experience handle these meetings, something I should maybe be doing that I'm not doing. Am I taking them too seriously? Do you always just listen to the advice that people are given and follow it, or is there more judgment involved? Certainly appreciate any thoughts on that front. They want us to go with a double load of training, as Conor Gallagher says that his training is not enough. Don't love the higher risk of injury and fatigue. He's showing improvement. Yeah, see, it says here it's a bit contradictory. We're being recommended to put him up to double training, but he's unhappy already with the high volume of quickness training. Doesn't mean that we can't cut back on that. Unhappy with training overall. I guess I am inclined to think that our assistant coach knows what he's talking about here. But we'll see what Jesus Perez has to say on the topic as well. And it looks like Jesus is saying the same thing. So we will go ahead and put him on double training intensity for the foreseeable future. Benoit here, slight struggles with first touch, dribbling, and technique. Individual ball control training program would be helpful for him to improve. He's a center back who's been coming back from injury. Obviously a very valuable player. He's just come on as a sub in one game for us this year at the Premier League level. Certainly should be an important part of our future. So I am inclined to set up the individual training on him. Players asking for a improved contract. Tyreek George has been hinting at this. Reasonably high potential player. And Boniface, I don't know, we've got both of these guys locked up until 2025. Boniface, 17-year-old, his potential ability doesn't seem all that high. I honestly tend to think if we could get $5 or $6 million from him at some point over the next year, year and a half, might be more inclined to let him go in a transfer if there's someone really interested in paying that much for him. But would be interested in what you think on that. Tyreek George, I think, is potentially a more important part of our team. He has been training very well for us, but he seems to be, and you can see his 9.35 training rating from the last week, but he seems to be a player who I've had some conversations with about his training, and he's a little prickly about being complimented, so I don't know that those discussions have always gone as well as I should have, or as they potentially could. You know, you hope you congratulate someone on their training and they taken in a positive way, and it helps improve their motivation, improve the relationship. But with him, as I said, he's been a little prickly about it. He's like, hey, I'm good. I'm working hard, but everyone else is working hard. Why are you pointing me out? So they haven't been great conversations. But any thoughts on whether he would be worthy of a new contract, given that he's locked up for still almost 2 more years at this point? How you typically react to these? Right now, I'm just going to move on, but certainly would revisit Tyreek or Boniface if those of you who are watching think it might be a good idea for me to. Training changes for Nicholas Jackson. He's pretty dissatisfied. Although it says he's content with his training overall. I don't really know what he's particularly dissatisfied about. Unhappy with the high volume of quickness training. Okay. So he's content overall. He just doesn't want all the quickness training that we have. Fair enough. I mean, it seems like the training on Jackson is not excessive. Normal intensity, the recommendation is for half intensity. I don't know if I'm ready to start going there quite yet. He is not incredibly sharp at this point, which, granted, the higher level of training, is going to increase his injury risk, but it's also probably going to get him in shape quicker than otherwise. Additional focus is on attacking movement right now. I'm inclined to just kind of leave things as they are here. It sounds like, and I haven't been intimately involved in running the weekly training programs for the team. I've delegated those at this point, but from the feedback I'm getting, seems like there's multiple people who don't like the level of quickness training that we're doing. But I would imagine as we get deeper into the season, there probably will be less of that when we get on the schedule of a match every week, recovery from that. So I don't think it's anything I'm going to tweak right now, but this is another topic where you've got thoughts on how to handle the training sessions for the team overall and how intimately involved you'd recommend me being with that. Any feedback on that topic is helpful as well. And with that, we'll move on. Caden Wilson in a spot to become in the position to become an important part of the under 21 squad. Travis Akamea, fringe player on the under 21 squad. 18-year-old and a 17-year-old. I'm going to leave them as is right now. This is another one of those topics where should I just always do what the coaches recommend if I've got good coaches, or is maintaining the status quo okay? Ishe Samuel Smith looks like the character of the squad has a positive influence on him. Silva supposedly past his peak, maybe all the more reason to move on from him. Jackson coming along, and Romeo Lavia making some progress there as well for the 19-year-old wonder kid who could be a very big part of our future. We've got him locked up for a very extended period of time now. He's come on off the bench in 2 appearances for us in the Premier League so far. Certainly a guy that we would like to get some more action and hopefully some starts on occasion as the Premier League season moves along. Decent backing from the squad, so that not great, not bad, could be worse. Development, got some comments on a goalkeeper, a midfielder, and a young fullback. Doesn't seem like there's anything to do with that. Praise Noni Madueke for playing well recently, 7.26 in his most recent game. That says last 5. So I guess is this, and I should know this, but I admit that I am not an expert. 7.26 is his last 5 is the average rating. We haven't played much more than 5 games. So the 6.72 is, yeah, that's his total for the season. I guess the 7.26 is his, no, it's not his highest game rating. I don't know what I'm looking at here. His average rating is 6.72. And when I look at the 5 games he's played in, I see an average rating of 6.72. Oh, I guess maybe it's including the non-competitive games, and I think he had a big game for us in the friendly. So this is probably the average rating for competitive games, and maybe the 7.26 is just everything, because we can see that 9.40 here, and that was that game against the Chelsea under 21s, where he had 2 goals and 1 assist for us. So I think I figured it out myself. We will. Oh, and here, very, very hard hitting. You know, he might be motivated by the praise, which is positive, or he might disagree with the praise, which is negative. Thank you, Football Manager, for that hard-hitting analysis of how this could go. I'm going to move on at this point. A few recommendations here. We are getting pretty close to fully staffed at this point. It's something we paid a lot of attention to the last, I guess, almost 2 months or around 2 months since we took over the club. So the number of openings is a little smaller. I'll consider some people going forward, but right now we've still got some job searches that are open. So I'm just going to move on from these recommendations here. Same thing on the medical team. We're getting close. I'm sure they'll continue making recommendations on some of these people if they think that there are holes that we can fill. And with that, we'll end the meeting. Any thoughts on what I should be doing differently in these meetings are greatly appreciated, as you might imagine. And we're getting ready for our Premier League matchup with Manchester United. You can see we're 11th. They are in 12th. We will have home pitch advantage here today. Looks like most people are expecting us to draw with them. It's considered that we might have a chance of sneaking out a victory, though. With the pre-match tactical advice, thoughts on what to do with this is also appreciated. I'm going to accept the opposition instructions given to me by the coach. I don't know that I'm going to increase defend duties. I think we're kind of okay right now with where we are with that. They want us to move from a positive to a balanced mentality. Don't know that I'm willing to do that. I will play for more set pieces. Silva and Chalobah, strong partnership. Problem is Chalobah is by no means, I don't think, ready to play quite yet. Still recovering from that torn hamstring. We just gave him his first action in that under 21 game that we had a couple of days ago. Not the intra squad, just a regularly scheduled under 21 game. They're asking me to remove a bunch of instructions here, including the pass into space, which I took under the suggestion of viewer feedback recently. This would kind of push us more back to the original vertical tiki-taka approach. I don't know that we really want to return to the original style. Probably should consider it at some point, since we have only scored 3 goals in 4 games. So maybe that's something that I should think about going forward. Maybe got a little aggressive with some of the modifications that I had made to the tactic. But we also still are only 10% or so of the way into the Premier League season at this point, so don't want to overstate the importance of anything we've done thus far. So thoughts on how much you accept the pre-match tactical advice from your coaches would be helpful to me as well. And since it's been 2 weeks at this point since our last Premier League game, I think it's actually been 2 weeks and a day. I think we played on a Saturday for our last game. Gonna go with pretty much the lineup that we've used most often as our starting lineup. Definitely with Colwill, Lavia, Broha, Corcherella, Mudryk, and Nanto, as well as Gusto. There's definitely guys off the bench who we will be certainly giving some action to, likely in the second half when some of the starters may need a little bit of a blow. But going to go back to the lineup that we've kind of been focused on. You can see pretty light match load for most of the guys on the team, with the fact we haven't played a competitive game in 15 days. Although, to be fair, some of them were off on international duty as well. And we are about to get underway here against Manchester United, Chelsea and Man U. 10 years ago, this would have been an even bigger game than it is today, but hopefully coming out with a positive attitude, we can do well, although it looks like they've gotten the first couple of shots on goal, and this looks like this could be a scoring opportunity for somebody. Would love it if we could take possession back here, but I'm guessing they're going to make a long pass and move. No, we did take possession, so maybe that's a good sign for us. Caicedo back to Sterling. Not the most impressive opportunity by us, and here they come the other way. So a little bit of action here around the 6-minute mark. Still no shots on goal for Chelsea, unfortunately. But here we go. Oh, not that exciting. Try to fire up the team here 10 minutes in. Not too much going on. So not a lot of real impressive opportunities thus far by either team. Looks like a yellow card just picked up by Manchester United. We're starting to finally get a few shots, but still way outshot, 9-3 favoring Man U compared to Chelsea. Has not been the most exciting first half thus far. And we've made it to halftime. You can see they're ahead of us in terms of expected goals. Only 4 shots for us, although 3 were on target at least. They've had 10 shots, only 2 on target for them. Pass completion percentage pretty even. Possession favoring us a little bit. Not the most exciting first half, to be honest. So a pretty boring and mediocre first half, all things said. We're going to pump our fists and go with our assistant recommendation. We're the favorites. Go out there and give the fans a performance to cheer for. Doesn't really seem like much of a reaction at all from our team from that pep talk. Any suggestions you have on pep talks would certainly be appreciated because I don't find them to be particularly impactful, but probably because I'm doing something wrong. And we're now closing in on the 60-minute mark. Ooh. Looks like Enzo Fernandez wants to come off, but let's see what happens here. Maybe we can get something going. Connor Gallagher up to Raheem Sterling. Great opportunity there by Nick Jackson, but not enough. So Fernandez wants to come off. We're going to, here 61 minutes into the game, probably make more than just that one move. You can see expected goals were even now, even though we have a lot fewer shots than Man U at this point. Possession definitely moving more in our favor in this second half. Fernandez certainly ready to come out, though, so we just need to make the decision there. And we're going to actually make a few changes here. In addition to Fernandez, who was tired, going to also take out Moises Caicedo and Reece James, who are both getting a bit winded. It does seem like some of the feedback has been viewed positively by the players, although I didn't really see that when I made the comments. So we're going to bring Malo Gusto on to play right defense for us. Romeo Lavia, as suggested, comes on, but we're actually going to put him in a defensive midfielder role. And then Cole Palmer is going to get his first action of the season. The youngster, 21 years old, not incredibly fit. Came over from Man City. Hasn't played much for us, hasn't played at all for us in any Premier League matches yet. So we'll let him make his debut for Chelsea here today. He's nervous, but at least he's not winded as we try to hopefully get a goal into the net over these last 30 minutes of the game. And we'll now head back to the action. Those substitutions will be going on. Opportunity there for Man U, which fortunately didn't turn into anything. Try to get the team fired up here with a little over 20 minutes left in regulation time. Oh. Seems like something should happen here, but not too much has happened so far. Longer it takes, the more I think it's going to be Man U with a scoring opportunity, but looks like perhaps not. Sanchez to Silva. Lavia. Raheem Sterling. Back to Lavia. Put the ball over the crossbar there. Wasn't the greatest opportunity in the world, but it was a shot on goal. Still trying to maintain a positive mentality here, although we're getting to the point where we'll just probably be content to come up with a draw. We'll make another change here, and we'll do it on the fly with their suggestion. Get Mudryk in there. Uh-oh. That was horrible. Casemiro with the goal on the turnover. Just brutal. 84 minutes, similar to that 89-minute goal. Blasted it from way outside the box past Sanchez, and we are going to make some more moves here, try to generate some little bit of offense here now that we need to try to score. We'll bring in Broha for Madueke, and we'll bring on Nanto for Jackson. try to generate some modest amount of offense, we're definitely going to have to be more aggressive. We're going to change our mentality to attacking with the dreaded 80 some odd minute goal against us. So we'll see if we can get lucky here. Probably not going to be the case. So another poor performance by Chelsea, another loss, only 3 goals scored through the first 5 Premier League games. Second time in the last 3 games where a goal near the end of the game has cost us. The last one cost us a win. This one cost us a draw. So a pretty disappointing performance when all is said and done. That was definitely not good enough. I don't know what else to tell these guys. Probably because of some problems I am making as a coach. And Marco Hamstraw, just get out of my face, you little peon. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you. So a 1-0 loss for us as we fall to 12th in the table. And hasn't been an impressive start to the season. Hasn't been an impressive start to me playing this game. Chilwell banged up. Fernandez, a more serious injury, pulled hammy out 8 days to 2 weeks. I don't think we necessarily need to rush him back for West Ham, so we're going to leave that to the physio rather than the injection. Palmer, as we talked about, did finally make his debut for us. And Mason Mount, now only 5 appearances away from us getting some money from our friends at Manchester United. So, disappointing performance at home. I feel like those late goals always get scored against me. Good news is it looks like we got a lot of scouting reports coming in, so that'll give me something to work on offline. But clearly, I need a fair amount of help. So the questions that I've asked, the questions that maybe I should have asked that I haven't asked, any thoughts you have on how to play this game better would be appreciated for me, and also helpful in the comments for those who are similar to me, trying to learn how to play this challenging game more effectively. Until our next episode, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.